So, Nick, what
Yeah.
I find very interesting to see, reading up on your biography and your history with gaming and as a person, uh, there's a lot of stuff out there. Like Sons of Starcraft came out a couple of years ago. In interviews, you get again asked about your personal history about gaming. We talked about Brood War and Starcraft 2. Uh, we all know a bit about, I think, people following your career and you as a caster. Like you also mentioned earlier in the interview, sleeping on couches, being broke, all that type of things. And now, after yeah, over a decade later since you came to Korea, um, obviously a bit wiser, a bit older. Do you ever get to the point where you feel, man, I'm too old for that shit, or like re- regarding gaming, um, or maybe in general your job or anything like that?
No, dude, not at all, man. To be totally honest with you, I really don't.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like that, like at all. I mean, maybe I kind of view myself as a television host and an entertainer and a gamer, but
Mhm.
no, I mean, I just kind of I'm totally fine doing this. So,
Cool.
I mean, I still play a lot of games. I don't play as much as I used to play.
Mm.
I'm sorry. I don't know if you get my cat. My cat is going crazy in the house. Hey, man, dude, you gotta chill out, man. Um, I just don't know if that's getting caught in the audio. She's like running all over the place.
Just
I never talk like this when I'm in the house. Normally, I'm like just quiet. I'm at my computer, so I think she thinks there's some kind of game we're playing
okay.
here because I'm pacing and walking around. Anyways, no, I mean, I very much so intend to keep doing this for absolutely as long as I can, and I'm doing well with it.
Mm.
And financially, I'm doing totally fine. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely, I've been asked that a lot, though. In fact, like the BBC did some interview with me a while back, and the guy was like, well, this is cool that you're doing this, but like, what are you going to do when you're in your 30s? And I'm like, oh, man, I'm in my 30s, dude. uh, I'm like, you just like assumed I must be like a little bit younger or something, but no, I mean, it's good. It seems like the business model that Afrika has set up and what Blizzard's doing, it seems to be sustainable. Esports continues to grow.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm okay.
Cool.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
So is it because of that interview you grew a beard to appear a bit older and wiser?
Dude, I had the beard. I had a big gnarly beard in that interview, and he still was like, "Oh, you must be like 23 years old." And I'm like, "No, man, like try 10 years older." But yeah.
Nice.
Actually, with the beard thing, I with my apartment that I was in, I just moved into this one, but the other apartment I was in, there was a male barber shop that was next to my house
Okay.
that
Cool.
does beard trimmings, and then I saw that. I'm like, "Oh, that like sounds cool. That sounds like it'd be kind of fun." So I decided to grow a beard out so I could go get it shaved in there. So that's why that's why I got the beard.
Cool.
Um, so yeah, man.
Yeah, but I think it, we're all happy to hear that you are planning to continue uh, this work that you are following, this career and this life. Um, and you mentioned also that you play obviously other games if you have time, except obviously now for the injury and maybe also a lot of work that you're doing. So any other games that make gets you excited at the moment?
Um, well, since the wrist injury, I've been playing Hearthstone because I can use my left hand with that.
Okay.
So that's like the game I can still actually play. I tried downloading like Civ 6 and some other games, and I'm like, I don't really like these games.
Yeah.
But something I can do like left-handed. I think I was playing a little bit of Heroes and Might and Magic. I've gotten like legendary like 6 times in Hearthstone now.
Okay.
Um,
Nice.
but I would like to get back to playing RTS like as soon as possible. I need my wrist to get better.
Not a
Um,
lot.
Dan Dan and me played. So when I was growing up, I played. I don't know if everybody's gonna know this game, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I played that in tournaments growing up. I played a lot of Street Fighter
Hmm.
4 competitively in arcades out here. I've thought about picking up if my wrist ever gets better. Just if I go to an arcade, I've thought about picking up Tekken 7 because Koreans fucking love Tekken, man. That's like the war is over, man. Tekken 1 out here, so I feel like
Mm.
There's a bunch of arcades in my neighborhood, so like that'd be something cool to pick up.
Hmm.
I do like CS:GO because Starcraft 1 and Counter Strike 1.6 are kind of like arm in arm as like the esport games. Starcraft
Mm.
was the 1v1
Mm.
game, and then excuse me, and then Counter Strike was like the team game. So there was always people playing Counter Strike at LAN parties. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I play a lot like single player games and stuff like that. So
Mm. Mm.
I'm like I'm a game guy.
Yeah, yeah.
I like games. Like when I wake up, I usually turn on Twitch and on my second monitor, and I just see if I'm not watching StarCraft 2, then I'm watching
Mm.
other tournaments or games or something. So this is kind of what I do.
Nice. I'm jealous, man.
Yeah, man, this is a good life, dude.
Yeah, it is. Like my wife still thinks I'm crazy. Sometimes I think watching all this. Also, me getting up early now doing the interview. At my side, it's a bit early in the morning. But I
Oh yeah, I
mean,
guess it must be pretty
so
early. Yeah.
I'm in, guys. I'm in South Africa, and but you can hear the accent. I'm German,
Yeah,
originally.
I wouldn't. I was about to ask you. You're in Germany, right? But no, man, that's a plot twist in this interview.
Yes,
You're in. So, what part of South Africa are you in right now?
um, I'm, I'm in the. If you know Cape Town,
I know Cape Town.
so Cape.
I have a bunch of friends out here that are from South Africa because they're
Yes.
English teachers out here.
Yes,
So
yes, yes. A lot of them are on that side. Yeah. So yeah, man, I'm in a very, very rural area. Like when you go to Cape Town and from Cape Town, you drive straight up north. I'm near the Namibian border. It's like, actually, I'm a reverend. Uh, I'm a church guy.
oh, no kidding.
Yes, yes, it's true. And so I'm working here. I have a congregation. I do my work here. Yeah. So
Oh, that's awesome, man.
that's my background.
That's pretty fucking cool. So is that like pretty? Is it pretty wild being out in South Africa? Being from Germany?
It is definitely different. I mean, you live abroad now, so you know how it is, and a culture shock all over the place. And um, man, I love South Africa. It's a very different country. It's lovely people, but also a lot of challenges, obviously. And we have been living here, me and my wife, now for 6 years. So yeah, it went
And then
by
do
quickly.
you get the reverse culture shock when you go back to Germany? Do you ever get that? Isn't that fucking crazy? Like sometimes I get reverse culture shock when I'm like in
Mm,
the States, even in like little situations where like in Korea, like if you're in the elevator, nobody talks to each other. It's like we just keep to
yeah.
ourselves. And then like when I'm in the States and in the elevator, like people just start talking to each other. I'm like, oh, people are talking to me. I'm like, what do you want? Like, why are we talking to each other? This is stressing me out. But it's funny. It's funny how that works. So
It
yeah, you know about like living abroad and stuff.
absolutely, yeah. And I mean, it's fantastic, and I love it. I mean, I love my job. I love what I'm doing, and it's a privilege for me to live abroad. And I mean, I like Germany, man. It's a good country, but yeah, getting some experience and adventure. So that's what I also find fascinating about your situation. And how do you? But I mean, you stated in a lot of interviews that you love South Korea, and you never, or let's say you're not planning to move back anytime soon to the US or any other place. As far as is that right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
well, I mean, I mean, so it makes sense for me to be. First of all, I do really like it out here. Seoul is. I've been very fortunate in my life that I've been able to travel a lot, um, and so I can tell you that I think Seoul is one of the best cities in the whole world. It's really efficient. It's got a great nightlife. It's very very safe. Um,
Mm,
so yeah, I mean, I'm quite content out here, but also it makes sense for me to be out here because this is where all the Starcraft is happening.
sure.
I've had a lot of job offers to do to move other places or
Hmm.
to do other games full time, and I've turned them down because I like what I'm doing
Yeah,
with this thing. So yeah, man. I mean, I'm quite content.
yeah. And I mean, I think sometimes if you grow up in one country and you move to another country, like me, for example, I grew up in Brazil. I went back to Germany with my parents. Then we moved, or I moved with my wife to South Africa. it's such a privilege to get to know other people, get to know other cultures and languages, and I mean, you as a person, you grow and you learn out of that so much. Like you said with the elevator thing, I mean, it's somehow it's also weird. It's like sometimes it is a shock. Like
Yeah.
in South Africa, everybody talks to each other. Like when they find you interesting, people like they just approach you and ask you what's happening, where are you from, how are you doing, you know. And in Germany, nobody talks to each other. It feels like it, so it's it's really weird.
Yeah, no, I've because I've been to Germany a couple times. Like, but I
Mm.
was also from like one of those like roaming families. So I was actually born in France. I was born in
Is
Grenoble,
it?
and then
Okay.
we lived in like New York and in Florida, and in Switzerland. And my parents got divorced in Switzerland, and so then I moved to Kansas, where my grandparents were. I moved there with my mom, and my dad
Mm.
continued to work as a journalist overseas. But like
Okay.
he's worked in like Hong Kong and Thailand and Indonesia and Singapore, and I
Mm.
would go visit him. So I was very used to the idea of, for instance, like living abroad.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean, but like I think that like yeah, I think traveling and seeing other cultures is really important.
definitely. Have you ever considered, and that's actually one of my questions also, it's funny that we ended up on that topic. Um, have you ever, if you one day will maybe have to move or want to move, where would you go? What would you choose to go do? What country?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think Southeast Asia is very nice.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not opposed to going back to the United States either. But I don't know. I mean, then again, I've kind of been pretty okay with wherever I'm at. You know, like I mean, I definitely prefer, like for instance, being in Seoul to being in a suburb in Kansas City. But like, I'm kind of okay with wherever I go. I'm pretty adaptable.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of wherever. I mean, I think
Hmm.
my dad used to teach at a university in Thailand, so I've been to Thailand several times. I think that's a really kind of nice place. It's cheap and the weather's good and stuff. But yeah, I mean, kind of,
Hmm. But now you're based in
it's
South Korea.
it's not some
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, it is also sort of the kind of opposite of being in Seoul. I mean, Seoul is one of the biggest cities in the world.
Hmm.
But I like it. I'm good. I mean, I don't put too much thought into it because it's kind of like
Hmm.
kind of focused on the here and now, I guess. But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. No. Let's see where it brings you over the years now. So we are coming to nearly the end of it, but there are some questions left for you. So, as a fan myself of Starcraft, and I followed you, I think since I think I first heard you commentate on Team Liquid's Team Liquid's what is it called again? Fight Attack. What is it called again, man? That show that they did
Wait,
where, in Brood War, where you and Dan casted the tournaments online. It's but yeah,
wait. This was for StarCraft.
StarCraft Brood War. You casted for Team Liquid.
Oh, was it the TSL or something like that?
Okay, the TSL definitely, but there was another one like Attack something, man. Um,
Oh man, I'm sorry. I don't know if I know. Like
but
I've casted so much shit that I actually
ex-
might not
yeah,
remember
no, no,
doing this.
but it's like years ago, so that's where I first heard you guys cast, and um, since then, obviously you developed and grew as a caster and commentator also. And I feel that Tasteless as a persona um, brings a certain style and personality to the whole thing, and Tasteless has a certain flow and humor, and especially together with Dan Artosis, uh, you have a certain synergy and a certain style, and so sometimes I wonder how big is the difference between Tasteless and Nick Plott.
So like because I've had a lot of other esports broadcasters come and ask me for advice on like how do they act on camera, and I would
Mm.
say like it has to be part of you. Like you don't want to be somebody that you're not on camera
Mhm.
because that's exhausting.
Mhm.
Like, but I mean, so like Tasis is definitely like it's still me. It's actually a very edited version of myself. Like I actually curse a lot, and talk a lot faster when I'm not on camera. And my sense of humor is really irreverent. So like what you're seeing in GSL is much more toned down. But yeah, it's like the vehicle that I think best delivers, at least in what I'm trying to do is deliver the most entertaining and informative and comfortable casting for Starcraft 1 and 2 that you can get. So yeah, I mean, what I try to do to maintain that is might sound silly, but I think it's really important. So I try to be in a really good mood, like before I go in. So I meditate before I broadcast. Usually on the subway, I take the train to go into the studio. So I meditate, and I there's kind of a rule that Dan and me have set up where the Afrika, we don't want any bad news or anything that's going to put us in a bad mood before we start broadcasting. We can do it afterwards. Okay. Not that there's like lots of bad news that we're getting, but yeah. And so we kind of go in this good place and try to dish it out. To prep, I basically watch the other Starcraft games that are going on, or just kind of rewatch the old broadcast and try to see if I could do something better. Or like I'll have a part where I'm like, I'm not sure how this actually went, so I'll go back and rewatch that part of the VOD. And then I'll spend some time thinking about it. But I'm not somebody, if you watch my broadcast, that relies on stats that much, because I feel like statistics are usually misleading, unless it's something crazy like Jaedong's StarCraft 1 ZVZ record or something. Yeah. Or we have something going on in StarCraft 2 where it's like, well, this guy hasn't lost any games and he's in the Final Four, right? Like that's an interesting statistic, but it's not like Zerg has a 57% win rate on this map, and it's like we've had 13 games on it. I'm like, this doesn't help anybody. So I try to not rely on stats too much. I definitely try. So like I'm very, very fortunate because I work out of a studio with an audience, so I get to see the people that come in, and occasionally if they stay after and they catch me, I'll get to talk to them for a minute. So I kind of get to see the people that are quite passionate about the show and will fly out there to watch it. And I'll also see, for instance, like people will show up with their parents, right? Like they convince their parents to come to South Korea, and they want to come by. And so like the parents, we have like headsets in the studio where you can hear the English commentary. So I mean, I'll see that and be like, okay, well, somebody's parents are watching. I should probably try to dumb this down a little bit and make it accessible. So I'm always trying to, in my cast, have fun, and I'm also trying to make it so that if you're new, I don't think people realize this, but like there's a lot of people that are in every single GSL are seeing it for the first time, right? And so it's really important to me that like they feel included, and I'm not like, because I think this is a big problem. I'm not talking about StarCraft casters in general here, but especially in esports in general, people are throwing out so much fucking jargon. Like I've watched esports tournaments for games that I don't know, and I don't feel like I can watch it. And like I'm such a fucking nerd. I'm like, how can I not get into this? So I try to, to make it accessible and hype and fun, and I try to do it in an honest way. Like,
sure. Yeah. Cool, man. So there is a difference between Nick and Tasteless. And I mean, obviously, you keep your private stuff to yourself, and you keep it private, and your job is your job. So I think that's also, obviously there. I mean, you guys talk about private things on stream, but it's all very also toned down, like you stated it. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's makes sense to protect yourself as a private person in a way. Or how do you? Sorry that I'm asking that, man. The thing is. Why I'm asking that, maybe just to explain it a bit, why I'm curious about it, is me being also in a role a lot of times as a reverend. There's also this distinction between private and the thing that I do in the open, and the thing that I do as a leader, and all the type of stuff. So, and I find that so fascinating with you guys, because obviously you came in as you. Your career developed over the years, and I think because you are much more exposed now, the audiences are bigger, the whole setup is much bigger. I'm just curious how you deal with it. So, but actually, you answered my question already. Yeah. So, but I think just to
Yeah, I mean,
so yeah.
we're pretty. Yeah, I mean, no, I think it's a really good question. So I appreciate that you asked it. I mean, um, I think that like, I mean, at this point in time, I feel like it's pretty comfortable for me. But yeah, I mean, we're doing a show that sometimes lasts like 4 hours,
Hmm.
right? Like it's 4 hours of people possibly sitting there listening to us, watching the whole time. So yeah, I mean, we kind of talk, we try to, get somewhat personal and talk about stuff. Sometimes also like, especially like in Brood War, like Mech PvT, or it's like sometimes like in a ZVZ at the start, it's like we really don't have a lot to say. We really don't want to be dishonest with our viewers. So we kind of, we have a little bit back and forth. And I think the thing is, Dan is like the fucking funniest person I know. Like he's so funny. So it's like we can have some fun together, and like he also has this very infectious laugh. But we can have some fun together and try to do that. And I mean, I think what we're doing, like everything else in life, is sort of absurd, right?
Hmm.
Like we're totally obsessed with RTS games. We're obsessed with these puzzles. And so it's like we could celebrate that. And, the people that are watching are also obsessed on some level. So,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can kind of like have fun with it. It's fine. I mean, we had initially when we started the studio, like we have total autonomy now.
Hmm.
Like as far as like how the content in our cast come out. So we have a really good relationship with the freaking. Like I remember, like the first season of GSL, we had this like lady who was in charge of us. She was telling us we couldn't use the word nerd. Like we used the word nerd, and she's like, "You can't say nerd," and I'm like, "What the
What?
fuck?" I'm like, why can't I not say nerd? I'm like, this is the nerd. We're doing the nerdiest shit ever. Like we're doing shit that's so nerdy. We're in a Starcraft tournament, okay? Like we're got the 70 fucking boots are soundproof. Like, what you think this is? Are we fucking embarrassed about this shit? Are you kidding me? She's not at the company anymore, by the way. But like
Okay. Yeah.
at the time, it was just like at the time it was like I think some people wanted it to be a certain way, and we kind of saw it as like
Mm.
I
Mm.
always think when I'm doing my cast, I think of back when I would watch replays
Mhm.
like with my friends, and we'd be talking and trying to figure out what the guy's doing so we
Mm.
can steal his build and like use it to ladder or use it in a tournament. But like, and so that's kind of what we're trying. We're trying to have fun. We're trying
Mm.
to be informative. We're trying to learn about the game, and so yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of different from some of these more. I think with some of these more esports events where they're trying to be more polished. But at
Mm.
GSL, we're trying to make. I'm trying to make something that I would want to watch.
Mm. Yes. That's
Yeah.
yeah. I think yeah. Very. Thank you so much for that because um, I I feel the point that you made is obviously we are taking the or you guys. I mean that's your job. You make money out of it and things like that. But the whole context of the thing, you have to approach it with a certain sense of humor and not take everything too seriously. I mean, like I told in the beginning, my wife when we started dating, I would get up early, man, like wake up in the middle of the night to watch Starcraft, and she was looking at me and also saying, are
She's
you
like, oh my
serious?
god.
Like, are you seriously doing this now?
I've actually heard this a lot where people are like my family does not understand what I'm doing, but like I really appreciate that you're doing this and casting this tournament. But I mean, my brother and me would do the same thing where we would watch the get up like in the middle of the night, or
Yeah.
actually for us we just stay up in the middle of the night and like watch like Bisu or somebody playing against some
Yes.
other big player or whatever, and it's like
Mm.
no, this is important to me. This is important to me. I want to watch this.
Although it's not always understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So throughout our interview, and I mean, people listening to other interviews of you or reading stuff up, like myself, picked up that I mean, it's obvious that you have been through a lot and you accumulated a lot of stories, like a ton of stories and anecdotes and all that type of things that are also a lot of times funny, sometimes sad. And did you ever consider writing about it or somehow make something out of it? Not
Oh
necessarily a
well, like
book
I
or
I
yeah.
actually have wanted to write a book for how people can acculturate to Korea if they want to move here or they want to travel here, and I've
Ah.
been meaning to do this. and I'm blaming my hand right now, man, because I can't type. So, but I would like to do something like that. I mean, I suppose as years pass, I could try to write I don't know, like an autobiography or something. I feel like even though I'm older, and so I'm like, I guess I'm almost 33. My birthday's coming up in August, but I think I have a lot more time to do this, so maybe more time for that to kind of get seasoned and unfold. But yeah, I think down the road, both Dan and I have talked about writing stuff because Dan and me both read a lot of books, and we listen to a lot of like podcasts and stuff. I think if you're in a city and you're walking around a lot, you listen to a lot of audio. Yeah, I mean, possibly down the road, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, and I mean, 33 is no age, man. That's like you still have so much time left.
Yeah, yeah. It's always funny because like some of these other pro gamers, I think like the younger, I think they think I'm like this old guy or something, and I'm like, no, man. I mean, I'm as you get older too, you realize that you don't feel really that much different than like when you were 20. You know, you're like, oh, I'm
Definitely.
basically the same person. Like I basically still feel like I'm a little kid. Like,
Yeah. And I mean, the funny thing for me is also when I that your brother Sean is the younger one, so you are basically actually the older one. Huh?
hmm
Is that right? So I
yeah, and
mean,
the
so
we
this.
shared a room growing up. We lived in our mom's attic together, and so I think it actually helped us out for Starcraft's sake because we both got to watch each other play. And I think especially with Starcraft because it's mechanical, it's like just watching somebody else play and seeing how they're executing stuff is quite helpful. But
Sure. Huh?
yeah, he's my little brother.
Yeah.
He's unfortunately he's an inch taller than me, so that fucks everything up, right? Because some people,
That's I
oh, I mean,
think
even though like we're done growing and stuff, it's like, ah, fuck. And you're like, well, you must be the younger brother. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, I'm 6'1". I'm fucking an adult male, but yeah, occasionally people assume that like he's my older brother or something.
yeah. So yeah, I was wondering about that, but you are right. I think it's a height that makes a difference. Yeah. So
Yeah,
to wrap things up a bit,
yeah.
a last question. So, what question in interviews do you hate most?
What question do I hate? I don't. It's been asked. I think one thing that early on in my career, that was really where it was people would be like, "Why are you not casting with your brother? Why are you casting with Dan?" And I'm thinking like, well, I mean, because Dan and me have been in Korea, like this is a guy I've worked with, like just because of the novelty that my brother and I both have the same last name. And the thing is, my brother totally gets it too, and he gets annoyed by it as well. Where he's like, well, he's working with Dan, he's doing his TV show. Why is that? Um,
Yeah.
what's the problem with that? I think what else? I'm trying to think of something else that's weird. I think occasionally people are talking to me like the game's not doing well or something when I mean I see the numbers and I talk to Blizzard and like so I'm NDA'd for all this, but I see how many people they tell me how many people are playing and they're very happy with that. So I know how active people are on BattleNet, and then I know the numbers at the GSL. So sometimes I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, we're starting on the wrong foot, right? We're like people have assumed that like the game's not doing as well as it is, and I'm like, well, that's like whatever the circle jerk on Reddit might be. But the game, like our numbers at the GSL, we're very happy with them. You know what I mean? They're very good. It's sustainable. You don't have to be the biggest in the world to be doing okay. Not, and by the way, I don't think you did that in this interview at all. I
Thank
think
you.
you addressed the stuff that, yeah, just, so people don't think I'm talking about you during this. But like I've occasionally had it where people come off on the wrong foot. I guess the other one that has happened with interviews is like, I think, okay, so one that happens with conventional news outlets is like they're fairly convinced that there's no way that this is my only job. Like they're fairly, I don't know what. I've had people do this in the studio too. Like everyone, like once every 6 months, somebody's like, "So what do you really do?" And I'm like, "Well, this is what I do." And they're like, "Come on, man! Like you like teach English on the side?" And I'm like, "Dude, we're in a TV studio, man. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, see all these cameras and stuff? Like this fucking giant screen that we have on the wall? Like this
Yeah, man.
this costs a lot of money to do. This has to be a sustainable model. Like, and so I've had that one that's always. I mean, it's kind of funny, but it's also like, well, no. I mean, I don't know why some people would think that this is not like everything that I own and I'm walking around my apartment. Everything I own, I've paid for with money from casting.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's like Seoul's not a cheap city. So I mean I'm doing fine, but that's one that I've been kind of surprised by, where people just I think sometimes people just can't really believe that this could be a real thing that you can do.
Yeah.
Like to talk about computer games, and it's like the issue lies with them to just be like, okay, well, maybe they're not comfortable with that idea, or that doesn't seem fair to them, or I don't know, whatever it is. But that's one I've had a couple times. Like that guy, the BBC who like thought I was 23. He's like, well, what are you going to do in your 30s? I'm like, I'm actually in my 30s.
Yeah.
Like this is actually what I do. And esports continues to grow, and it's getting more attention, and it's growing pretty rapidly. So people are trying to figure out how to wrestle and grapple with that. But yeah. I guess those are my answers.
Thank you so much. I think that the whole thing of esports, I think it manifests itself around meeting people like you, and then sometimes people have to figure out, this stuff is for real. Like there are actually people in stadiums watching this, and things like that. Yeah. So thanks so much, and I'm happy that I didn't ask too much of that type of questions, and any last?
No, this was a good interview. I enjoyed this, man. This was quite good. You did a good job.
Thank you so much. That's because that's my.
You get 5 stars from Tasteless. Okay.
Thank you.
The interviewer gets 5 stars.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
I will use that as a reference for my next one.
Yeah, there you go. You got 5 stars from Tasteless, man. How many stars are there total? There's 5, in case they ask. Okay, there wasn't a 6 star. So no, you did a good job.
Thank you for the encouragement. I enjoyed it also very much. Do you have any last shout outs or thank yous or whatever?
I mean, not really. I mean, I guess thank you all the people who watched the show. I said at the end of the show, but I love you guys. I don't know. Donate money to streamers that play Starcraft. Keep supporting it. Stop being so fucking hysterical about fucking the game being dead when it's still like the oldest. It's like the oldest fucking esports franchise is still around. So it's okay, guys. It's all right.
There you go.
I guess that's it, man. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, from my side, thanks so much. So let me just before I forget it, I just want to end with a shout out from my side, also to you, and thank you so much, man, for taking your time. I also want to thank quickly to Cyan, the guy that puts out a lot of other interviews. You guys listening into this, please.
Oh, Cyan?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing an interview with him coming up soon, man.
Yes. And
yeah,
I hope you enjoy
he's also
it.
been trying to get a hold of me, man, and I'm fucking So that's the next interview I'm doing, man.
And I just a quick shout out to him because he helped me to set up this whole thing. He helped me with the technical side of stuff, and guys, we are not making any money out of this, so it's just for the love of the game.
You gotta get a Patreon, man.
Yeah, maybe. I think Cyan is trying to set something up. I mean, I can't commit too much to it. I would love to do more of it, but I'm trying to get hold of all these guys. But it's like with you. A lot of people are busy. Not that they are not willing, like you are willing to do it, but the time and the circumstances are difficult.
I think, to be honest, I think I'm the hardest person to get a hold of out of everybody. Like I'm notoriously bad. So you did a good job chasing me down.
So guys,
but yeah, no, I mean people are busy though. Yeah, for sure. Sorry, go ahead.
No, don't worry. It's so. Thanks so much for that, and thanks for taking the time and the effort and giving us some new insight about the situation in around Starcraft. And I hope you have a good day. You still have some time of the day left. I hope.
Yeah, I got plenty of time.
Yeah, so
I got a whole day ahead of me. So yeah.
And all the best with your wrist and the last steps of the moving. And I think I can say that all the guys listening in, all the fans, wish you all the best for your career. And yeah, man, I hope one time I can visit you guys in Korea.
Yeah, man, let us know, dude.
I will.
You just got your studio, entry's free. It's not too hard to find, but yeah, man, come down, dude.
And although there's no free pizza anymore,
Sometimes there's free pizza, dude.
Even that.
Sometimes that depends. If Blizzard's there, a lot of times there's free pizza,
Nice, man.
or we get hamburgers delivered. Sometimes it depends. It depends.
Nice. So, guys, you hear Tasteless. Come, eat free, watch Starcraft, support all that is happening, so that we can keep our game alive. Okay, guys, I say bye bye until the next.